Hello everyone, this is Dr.Syamala Devi from the Department of MBA, IB, Acharya Nagarjuna University. And our today's topic is regarding corporate governance and duties of directors. So what is the corporate governance? What are the aspects involved in the corporate governance? What is the system of corporate governance, and how important corporate governance will study now, okay? And at the same time, how these directors are related to this corporate governance. What are the duties and responsibilities of directors? Why we will talk about directors when we talk about corporate governance, okay? So what is the prominent role played by directors, okay? So if we see what is a corporate governance means, so corporate governance is the system by which management of a business entity directs and controls the activities, okay, on the principles of accountability, transparency, and ethical practices in best interest of all stakeholders, okay? So here corporate governance means how the business entity is going on, what are the rules, what are the policies, what are the practices and processes by which a company is directed, a company is controlled, okay? Control the activities on the principles of accountability means the responsibility, transparency, how the company is transparent, and ethical practices, to what extent the organization is giving importance to ethical values and moral values in its organizational activities, okay? Finally, in best interest of all stakeholders, okay? I'll explain the stakeholders. So stakeholders are nothing but the persons who are related to, who are associated with the company, okay? They may be internal or external persons, okay? Those are known as stakeholders. For example, we can say that customers, suppliers, government, competitors, communities, okay? Likewise employers. All these can be considered as stakeholders along with shareholders. So that is the corporate governance. So it is a system, means corporate governance means it is a system with vision, strategies, okay? So corporate social responsibility will be there, so in which management business entity directs and controls, okay? So corporate governance means we will see the accountability, transparency, and ethical practices, okay? So it contains corporate governance. Implementing corporate governance in a company means it is following the rules, policies, practices, and processes in a proper way, okay? And if we see the definition, okay, so definition means, according to James Ritchie, corporate governance is not an abstract goal, okay, but it exists to serve corporate purposes by providing a structure within which stockholders, directors, and management can pursue most effectively the objectives of the corporation. See, corporate governance means it involves shareholders, okay, stakeholders, directors, and management. In those, stockholders or shareholders, okay? Stockholders or shareholders, directors, and the management all should play important role, and all should actively perform in the management, okay, in order to achieve the objectives of the corporation. So for this, they have an effective corporate structure or else a business structure. Why? In order to safeguard the interest of stakeholders. At the same time, in order to gain profits. Okay, so corporate governance means it is linked to economical way and also social way. Okay, social approach, economic approach means economically means it should provide uh, or else it should gain profits, and at the same time it should think about social aspects also. Okay, like social aspects are nothing but being practicing ethical practices, being transparent, okay, being accountability, integrity, corporate social responsibility. So all these should be there in a corporate governance, then only they can achieve the economic aspects as well as the social aspects. Okay, so corporate governance is very very important. It plays an important role in the organizational activities. Okay, the main aim or the main purpose of corporate governance is to balance, okay, or else to safeguard the interest of stakeholders. Okay, interest of stakeholders means shareholders, customers, employers, or else government, bankers, suppliers. So all the people are associated with the organization in any way. Okay, so it depends upon their agreement, but whenever they are associated with the organization means definitely their interest should be safeguarded by the organization. For that purpose, okay, corporate governance came into existence, and in many businesses it is a mandatory to implement corporate governance in the organizations. Okay, in India also we will see many of the business entities, it is a mandatory, it is compulsory to implement corporate governance in their organizations. So it is nothing but they are following the policies, rules, regulations, practices and processes in a proper way with accountability, transparency and following the ethical practices in their organization. So this is about the corporate governance. So in this corporate governance, the major role was played by the directors of the company. Okay, so even though the owners of the company are the shareholders, okay, why? Because shareholders invest money in the organization, but they will not play active role in the day to day business activities. So on behalf of shareholders, okay, these directors were appointed by the shareholders. Why? Because in order to see the day-to-day business activities and ultimately to gain the profits in the organization, these shareholders appoints the directors. Okay, so mainly corporate governance means these directors, okay, these directors plays very very important role because they act as a trusteeship in the organization, which is nothing but they are the trustees to the property or welfare of the company. The board must use the company's property for the long run gain of the company but not for the personal use. Okay, that is why directors are very very important. They act as trustees. Why? Because shareholders elects the board of directors or the directors. Why? Because they invest their money in this company. Okay, why? To gain profits. So as they cannot involve in the day-to-day activities in the organization, so they appoint these board of directors, and these directors should play very very important role, like as a trusteeship or else as trustees, and in formulation of mission, objectives and policies also. These board of directors, they play very important role. They see long run perspectives of the company, and the board formulates, reviews and reformulates the company's mission, objectives and policies, which form the basis for strategy formulation and implementation. Why? Because corporate structure or corporate system is involved with the vision, mission, strategy. Okay, so their mission, objectives and policies all are on the basis of the strategy formulation and implementation. So all these are done by the directors, board of directors, and designing organizational structure also. Okay, so the board design the structure of organization based on the objectives, policies, environmental factors, degree of competition, role of quality, expectations of employees, etc. Okay, so organization structure, how would be the structure? So it is also designed by the board of directors. Okay, at the same time, selection of top executives also. Why the board should assume the responsibilities of screening and selecting the top executives who can formulate and implement the strategies. For example, chief executives are key personnel in the process of strategy implementation, like CEO, chief executive officer, CFO, chief financial officer. Okay, likewise, so CS, company secretary. So all the C persons will be appointed, or else screening and selected by the board of directors. Okay, all these are the top executives. So board of directors plays very important role, and their roles and responsibilities impact the performance of the organization. Okay, likewise, financial sanctions also. Okay, like the important financial decisions, like sanctioning finances to various projects, reserves, distribution of profits to shareholders, and repayment of loans and advances, etc. Okay, those are all taken by the board only. Okay, further, the board reviews the financial performance of the company from time to time and reformulates the financial policies also. Okay, so financial decisions also taken by the directors, so they play a very crucial role. So not only this financial aspects also, but feedback, like the board has to obtain information from the external environment factors and feed that information forward to various key points in the company in order to prevent possible hurdles and mistakes in the process of achieving organizational goals. Okay, so definitely external environmental factors impacts on the performance of the organization, and they have to obtain a detailed information regarding the changes in the external environment and know about the information, and they have to present that data in the general meetings. Okay, meetings every quarter, one meeting will be conducted. Okay, so further, the board also obtains the information from internal sources of the organization and feeds it forward to prevent possible futures in decision making by the top level executives. So the board also feeds the information back to the executives regarding their future failures in decision making, with a view to avoid the recurrence of such mistakes. Thus, feedback of information helps the board to check and control the activities, as board has the ultimate responsibility for the success of the company. Okay, so board of directors plays crucial role, important role. Okay, their roles and responsibilities are very high. Okay, and finally, they act as a link between the company and external environment. Means the board act as a vital and continuous link between company and external environment. So external environment are known as the external stakeholders or the secondary stakeholders. Okay, like government. Okay, other bankers, economical institutions. Okay, and other companies, competitors, all comes under the external environment. So any changes in the external environment, they affect the organization's performance. So they act as a link between company and external environment. Okay, so in this way, this board of directors plays very important role, and that is why shareholders appoints these board of directors. Okay, so shareholders have the objectives, directors also have the objectives. Okay, so shareholders own business and they have their own objectives. Okay, and they would like to like the directors also to do in the business is to work and ensure that their own objectives are met. Okay, their own objectives means shareholders objectives are met with the help of the directors. Okay, so but directors also have their own objectives, and at the same time the organizational objectives also will be there. Okay, but both shareholders objectives, directors objectives, they may on occasion differ from what the shareholder wants. Okay, shareholder wants the finally the company's performance. Why? Because he can earn dividend on that. Okay, the profits on that. But board of directors, okay, for example, they may differ from shareholders objectives because they also work for the company's performance only, but at sometimes personal objectives dominate the company's objectives. For example, if directors are being paid a bonus based on profits produced for this year, directors will work hard to produce profits. Okay, but not necessarily the same as producing long term shareholders wealth. Okay, how they can increase profits. Okay, why? Because they'll get bonus. Okay, so they can increase profits by cutting on training, cutting back on R&D, research and development, cutting corners, and they can show profits. Okay, and gain bonus, but it wouldn't necessarily be good for the business. Why? Because here ultimately benefited by the directors but not the shareholders. Okay, so in this way directors may go for their personal benefits but not for their company's benefits, which is nothing but the shareholders benefit. For this purpose, okay, corporate governance is important. Corporate governance seeks, tries, ensures that directors behave in such a way that to ensure the shareholders' objectives are met. So it is concerned with structure of board, directors, subcommittees, etc. Okay, so corporate governance is very important. Implementation of corporate governance in an organization is good for both the company and at the same time the stakeholders of the company also. Okay, so if he is here, before going to the depth analysis of corporate governance, we have to see about what is the business structure, corporate structure or else business structure in a business entity. If we see here, shareholders appoints or elects the board of directors, and these board of directors appoints the president. Okay, and this president appoints the treasurer and secretary. Okay, and coming to here, along with treasurer and along with secretary, president also appoints vice president for different departments like finance, production, operation, marketing, etc. And these vice presidents, they appoint manager to their particular department. Finance vice president appoints manager for finance section. If we see vice president for production, he appoints his manager to a particular production department. And here operations manager, here marketing manager by vice president of marketing. And these managers appoints the supervisors. Okay, and these supervisors appoints the workman who plays or else who functions in the operations of production and services in the organization, in the day-to-day operations of the production and services in the organization. Okay, so this is the business structure in a corporate governance. Next, if we see a role of four major groups in a company. Okay, so these persons are important in the organization. Okay, so first and foremost persons are the shareholders. Why? Because they invest their money in the company and become the owners of the company. To that extent, how many shares they purchase means, to that extent they are the owners of the company. Okay, they own stock in the firm, giving them ultimate control. Okay, ultimate control, the shareholder primacy model. They don't participate in running and daily operations of the business. We all know that we may purchase the shares, we are the owners of the company, but in the day-to-day daily activities of an organization, we will not involve. Okay, just we'll have a voting rights. We will elect the directors of the company, but in day-to-day life, we cannot involve into the daily business activities. So for that purpose only, shareholders are appointing the board of directors or the directors of the company, right? So first major group is shareholders. After shareholders, they appoint the board of directors. So under board of directors, they govern and oversee management of the business. As I said before, they play very important role, like they act as trustees. They will see the financial decisions. Okay, they will see the CSR activities in the organization. They will have a feedback to the organizations. Okay, so each and every activity they play very important role in the organization, these board of directors. Also they set the policies, norms, rules, code of conduct, mission, vision, goals of the company, each and everything which is important, which affects the performance of the organization. Okay, so they oversee the overall management of a company. Okay, and another one is management, another group under company. After shareholders, after board of directors, after that management plays important role. So the individuals hired by the board to manage the business daily. So management is nothing but, as we see before, board of directors, they appoint the C executives, top level management. Okay, and they appoint the president, vice president, managers, supervisors, and finally the workmen. Okay, so next, so they perform their duties according to their roles and responsibilities. Now if we see employees, so they are hired to perform actual operational work on shop floor. Okay, that is nothing but converting raw materials to finished goods, means they are in actual work. Okay, so they are in the operations activities, operational activities, doing operational activities in producing, in production and services of a organization. Okay, so these are the four major persons. Okay, four major groups, and also the four major roles played by these people. Okay, and if we see about stakeholders, each and every time we are talking about the stockholders and stakeholders. Stockholders are nothing but the shareholders of the company, who purchases the shares of the company, who are the owners of the company, or the stockholders, right? So if we see stakeholders, okay, so who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are nothing but the shareholders, employees, communities, etc. Here if we see another stakeholders, government, media, competitors, etc., they all comes under another stakeholders. So stakeholders are nothing but the persons who are associated with the company activities: customers, suppliers, government, competitors, employees, shareholders. Okay, so if we see stakeholders, primary stakeholders are there, secondary stakeholders are there. Okay, so primary stakeholders, who are primary stakeholders? They are critical to the company. Primary stakeholders are very critical to company's existence and activities. Why? Because they are directly involved in the organizational activities. So who are those persons? They affect directly. Okay, so these shareholders, they affect directly to the company and also affected by the company also. Okay, in case of losses, for example, they may affect the stockholders, affect employees, will be affected. Okay, likewise if we see secondary stakeholders, so who are secondary stakeholders? Who are affected indirectly by the company's activities and decisions. Okay, so for example, government, media, activists or NGOs, religious groups, competitors, etc. All those comes under the secondary stakeholders. Okay, so stakeholders means nothing but the people who are associated with the organization either directly or indirectly under these primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. So if we see owners don't participate, owners are nothing but here the shareholders. Okay, owners are shareholders or the owners or the stockholders. So they don't participate in routine operations of the company. It is necessary here. Okay, why? Because they do not, the shareholders, they do not involve in the day-to-day business activities of a company. They just purchase the shares. So it is necessary to ensure that interest of these shareholders is protected. Okay, so that is the main concept in corporate governance. Okay, and in modern scenario also, okay, businesses also require to protect not only the stockholders or shareholders but also the stakeholders. Okay, see, stockholders means shareholders, stakeholders means all these comes under, in primary and secondary comes under the stakeholders. Okay, and this is the essence of corporate governance. Okay, means protecting the interest of the stakeholders, either primary stakeholders or secondary stakeholders. Okay, so if we see here, see, so company, so under company we will see employees, shareholders, suppliers, customers, communities and workers. All these people are associated with the organization internally. Okay, so they affect directly by the company or else affected by the company also. These people directly they are involved and directly they will be affected. Okay, so these are known as the primary stakeholders. If we see secondary stakeholders, local community. Okay, so local community, environment, competitors, religion, activities or NGOs, media, government, all these are secondary stakeholders. Okay, these are primary stakeholders. So if any stakeholder is important. So now if we see the importance of corporate governance. Okay, so importance. So what is the importance of corporate governance? Why we have to implement the corporate governance? First one is changing ownership structure. Okay, changing of ownership structure. So if we see many companies undergo the mergers or else takeovers. Okay, so likewise enters into joint venture, anything. Okay, so whenever any company is going for mergers or takeovers, it will see that is the company implementing the corporate governance. Okay, corporate governance is nothing but that it is following the proper rules and regulations, the policies and processes on the principle of accountability, transparency and ethical behavior. Right, means it is following a good code of conduct. So whenever it is following a corporate governance means definitely the company who wants to purchase, who wants to take over a company, they will come forward without any hesitation. Okay, so then if a company is following a corporate governance means definitely changing ownership structure will become very easy. Okay, for this also there is a best example for Jersey milk. Okay, it is taken over by the Godrej company. Okay, this has a entirely different management structure, but as it follows the corporate governance, it is easy to take over by the Godrej company. Okay, means changing ownership structure, it will be easy by implementing the corporate governance in the organization. And coming to second aspect, importance of social responsibility. Okay, by adopting, if corporate governance is there means, okay, definitely we will see social responsibility also. Nowadays, many companies, by implementing social responsibility means they think that it also increases their products marketability. Okay, they do not go for social responsibility genuinely. Okay, they think about profitability and they enter into social responsibility concept. But here, by adopting corporate governance, okay, they genuinely enter into corporate social responsibility. Okay, if corporate responsibility is the corporate governance is being implemented in the organization, means definitely they will follow strictly, genuinely the corporate social responsibility. Okay, so this for this reason also it is important to follow the corporate governance. And indifference of shareholders. Indifference of shareholders means every owner is a shareholder. We know that every shareholder is a owner of the company. Why? Because he invests some amount in the company and purchases shares. So by purchasing shares in that particular company, to that extent he becomes the owner of the company. But do they involve in the daily organizational activities of the organization? Means no. Okay, so this corporate governance gives a comfortable level to the shareholders. Okay, like in attending the meetings. Okay, likewise in voting rights also. Okay, in many aspects shareholders feel comfortable by implementing corporate governance. Why? Because corporate governance means it is accountable, transferable, and ethical practices can be maintained in the organization. Shareholders wants that only. Shareholder want the company to be accountable for any negative impact in the organization. Accountability, transferability, transparency means the financial aspects of the organization should be transparent to the shareholder. Why? Because he is investing his money in the organization, means definitely the company should be very responsible, okay, in maintaining profits in the organization, and they should be shown to the shareholders. Okay, so this can be possible with implementation of corporate governance. So if we see globalization, okay, so in nowadays every organization wants to extend its marketability, the growth, okay, the growth of the company. Globalization, entering into international markets. Okay, so in order to attract the foreign investors, in order to attract the foreign customers, suppliers. Okay, definitely, if at all corporate governance is following, means it will be easy in the globalization aspect. Because if we want to enter into international market, this is the first and foremost thing that is seen by the international investors. Do the organization is implementing the corporate governance or not? Okay, so that is very very important. So government corporate governance implementation is very very important if at all we are going for globalization or international market. Okay, and takeovers and mergers, as I said before, whenever a company, whoever is taking takeover, if there is corporate governance, means they will confidently, comfortably take over that particular company without any hesitations. Okay, so for that purpose also this is very very important. Okay, now last one is SEBI. Okay, so if we see, it is mandatory to implement corporate governance in some organizations. Okay, because the corporate companies concerned with different stakeholders or associated with different stakeholders, they have to safeguard their interest. Okay, for that purpose this SEBI, it made mandatory for many organizations to implement corporate governance. Okay, so we can see the fairness, accountability, transparency. If at all it is following corporate governance according to the instructions of the SEBI rules. Okay, So if we see the principles of corporate governance, so what are the principles of corporate governance? First one is shareholders recognition. Okay, so we all know that shareholders are the owners of the organizations. Even the owners of the organizations, they will not involve in the day-to-day activities of the organization, but the principle of corporate governance is uplifting the importance of shareholders, the right to speak, okay, by the shareholders. So it gives some recognition to shareholders. So the first and foremost principle of corporate governance is shareholder recognition, because they are the persons who are investing in the organization. Next one, stakeholders interest. As I said before, stakeholders are both primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders. So all the stakeholders' interests should be safeguarded by the organizations. Okay, why? Because at some times the decisions taken by the organizations may affect negatively, and which ultimately affect the customers, suppliers, or else the stakeholders of the organizations. So first and another foremost important principle of corporate governance is, whenever taking the decisions, you have to give the foremost importance to the interest of the stakeholders. Okay, and next one is board responsibilities. Okay, so board responsibilities means the principle of corporate governance sees that, do the board of directors are playing important role in the organization or not? Are they following their rights and duties, roles and responsibilities properly or not by the corporate governance? Why? Because board of directors plays important role. They act as trustees, they take financial decisions, they formulate policies, procedures of the organizations. Okay, therefore we have to see the corporate governance sees that, do the board of directors are responsible or not? Why? Because stakeholders interest depends upon their decisions. Okay, so another important principle of corporate governance is board responsibilities. Okay, it is seeing corporate governance sees, do the board of directors follow properly the roles and responsibilities? And another principle is ethical behavior. Okay, ethical behavior means things should be transparent. Okay, so transparent means it should be concerned with ethics. Okay, so each and every aspect, organizational activities in the organization, they should be transparent and accountable. So transparency, accountability, integrity means definitely it is concerned with the ethical behavior, ethical practices of the organization, which is under corporate governance. And another one is business transparency. The main principle is the transparency should be protected by the corporate governance. Okay, each and every aspect of the organization should be transparent, should be known to the stakeholders of the organization. Okay, what is going on in the organization, each and everything should be known to the stakeholders of the organization. Means corporate governance sees that business transparency is being protected or not. Okay, now if we see about what is a corporate governance, means if we see the introduction part, or else the very main topic, means corporate governance means corporate or a corporation is derived from the Latin term corpus. Okay, corpus means body. Okay, so the word corporate relates to a large business entity or a large company. Okay, so there we will use the word corporate, means it gives the meaning of large company. Okay, a body, large company. And if we see governance, governance means the root of the word governance is from gubernate, which means to steer. Okay, to steer means administer. Okay, to steer here. a large company is being administered. Okay, governance means administering the processes and systems placed for satisfying stakeholders expectation. Okay, the management, okay, the management, the board of directors all plays important role. Administration is done properly. Why? To safeguard the interest of stakeholders expectations. So corporate governance means it is a system, okay, system of vision, mission, strategies, okay, accountancy, transparency, integrity, ethical practices, okay, all can be seen in this system by which management of a business entity directs and controls. Okay, directs and controls. The corporate governance directs and controls activities of business on the principles of accountability, transparency, and ethical practices, okay, in best interest of all stakeholders. So this is a corporate governance. If we see the definition, corporate governance is a system by which the companies are directed and controlled. This is given by Sir Adrian Cadbury, okay, to the report of Committee on the Financial Aspects of Corporate Governance on December 1992. So this is given by Adrian Cadbury. Means corporate governance is nothing but companies are directed and controlled. Okay. So another definition given by Monks Robert Me and Minonell on corporate governance. The term corporate governance is concerned with holding the balance between economic and social goals and between individual and communal goals. Okay, so here both profitability can be seen, and at the same time social goals means the social responsibility, it is also seen both on management side and the society. Okay, so therefore corporate governance means it is holding a balance between the economic and social goals, between individuals and communal goals. If we see what is the corporate system, okay, as I said before, corporate system in corporate governance. Okay, so vision, mission, objectives, strategies, smart goals, okay, so all can be seen in corporate governance. Okay, so if we see vision means, vision is nothing but it is related with the long term goals of a company. Okay, and mission means mission is connected with, associated with short term goals. This is long term goals. Okay, vision is long term goals, mission short term goals. Okay, and if we see objectives, so objectives means department wise. Okay, department wise we will have vision and mission. The objectives will be framed in each and every department according to the departmental wise where they align the vision and mission of the organization. Okay, so that is objectives regarding the corporate governance. And strategy, so strategy means in order to achieve these objectives, okay, a formulated strategy will be implemented or maintained by the organization for a short period of time. Strategy means for a short period of time. To that, in order to for example, for a department, any sales department, for these 3 months, within these 3 months we have to increase our sales. So in order to increase those sales, there will be a strategy. So after achieving that sales, we have ended that there that particular strategy. Means strategy means it is to achieve objectives formulated for short period of time. And if we see here smart goals, here smart goals means S means specific, okay, M means measurable, A means achievable, R means realistic, okay, and T means timely. So these are known as the smart goals. Okay, smart goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely means deadline should be there for to achieve a particular objective. So goals should be specific. For example, As I said before, for a department, for sales department, okay, so the goal should be specific in the sense we have to increase the sales. That is a specific objective. At the same time, measurable, we have to the objective that is to be achieved. For example, increasing of sales means it should be countable, it should be measurable, it should be quantitative, okay. And at the same time, achievable means we should keep our objectives in such a way that they should be achievable in a specific time period of time, okay. And realistic also, we shouldn't keep our formulate our objectives or goals which are not realistic, okay. According to our organization's capacity, we have to keep our goals and objectives. So that is known as the realistic and timely. There should be a deadline for any objective, and within that particular period of time we have to complete our reach our goals or objectives, okay. So that is about the SMART goals. So all these are related to the corporate governance, okay. And in turn, these corporate governance, okay, what we can see in this corporate governance, okay, what we will see in this corporate governance means accountability and integrity, okay. So accountability and integrity means taking responsibility by the board of directors, and at the same time, integrity means here understanding a person with high moral virtue, okay. So that is integrity means a person having very high moral values, ethical values. So here board of directors plays important role in this corporate governance, and they are accountable, and there should be integrity in those directors. At the same time, disclosure and transparency, this is also seen, okay. So these are, we may consider these as a principles and important aspects in the corporate governance. Disclosure and transparency means each and every aspect, okay, we should be disclosed. If at all the company is following corporate governance means, okay, disclosure. For example, the financial status of the organization should be circulated to the stakeholders of the company, and they have to know what is going on in the company. At the same time, transparency is nothing but each and everything should be open to the stakeholders of the organizations. No misconception should be there, okay. So likewise, policies and norms also should be properly formulated in corporate governance, okay. Policies and norms should be accordingly in such a way that they should increase the performance of the organization, and at the same time the shareholders interest should be safeguarded. It is nothing but the amount that is invested by the stockholders in the organization, okay. We have to frame the policies and norms in such a way that we have to safeguard the rights of those people, okay, duties, rights and responsibilities of the stakeholders. And at the same time, corporate social responsibility, it can be seen under this corporate governance. So CSR will be applicable. Definitely each and every organization will go for social responsibility because corporate governance means accountability, transferability, ethical practices. Ethical practices means definitely they will give importance to the society, means social responsibility will be implemented. At the same time, procedures and processes also. The procedures and processes, how they are going on, how they are doing, how the procedure is going on for each and every thing, how the process is done, okay. Centralized business process, internal management, how the internal management is going on, internal process is going on, internal procedures, how the internal procedures are going on, okay. Likewise, ethical standards and values are maintained under corporate governance, okay. And ethical standards and values is nothing but fair values should be there. For example, if we are dealing with suppliers means, okay, so we have to pay in time. For example, suppliers may send the raw materials in credit basis, okay. So we have to pay them in time, okay. Likewise, some ethics we have to follow, and risk management, okay. Likewise, if we see in ethics, we have to pay taxes also. We should not avoid taxes. It also comes under ethical behavior of a organization. It does not see secondary ways to evade tax, okay. It should sincerely, genuinely pay the taxes to the government. So it is also ethical value. And risk management. Definitely, corporate governance means the directors will follow the appropriate proper rules, procedures, policies, strategies, norms of the organization. Why? Because to control the risk in the organization, they will control the revenue, they will control the risk management. Okay, everything can be seen by the directors of the organization. And monitoring and internal control, it is also seen. Monitoring means under corporate governance, definitely directors will be there and committees will be there, subcommittees will be there. Why? Because all these committees are maintained in an organization. If at all company is implementing corporate governance, means definitely it will follow the committees. Committees are nothing but which will look after the performance of the organization. Okay, so for example, we may have different committees like grievance committee, shareholders committee, ethical committee. Okay, likewise different committees will be there who are responsible. Okay, so internal audit committee will be also there. So all these are internal committees in order to check the performance of the organization. They will monitor the internal management. Okay, likewise organizational hierarchy. We all know organizational hierarchy is the structure, corporate structure or business structure. In previous slide we have discussed about the business structure, which is nothing but shareholders appoint board of directors, board of directors appoint the C executives, and C executives appoint the president, vice president. Okay, likewise we will see the different department vice presidents, managers, supervisors, workmen. Likewise, so organizational hierarchy will be maintained and roles and responsibilities to be followed by that particular hierarchy is also being given or else informed to the particular hierarchy structure. Okay, so by following a systematic hierarchical structure means definitely there will not be any negative taking negative decisions cannot be seen. A proper hierarchical structure impacts positive decisions, taking positive decisions in the organizations, which ultimately increase the performance of the organization, which is nothing but bringing the profits to the organization. Okay, which ultimately we are protecting, safeguarding the interest of the stockholders. And compliance and achievements are nothing but to, if at all corporate governance is being implemented, means definitely the rules and regulations, the policies and procedures, strategies of the organization are aligned with the corporate governance. They are according to the corporate governance. Okay, the rules, the policies, the procedures, the strategies, each and everything will be in a good manner. The code of conduct can be seen in this compliances. Compliance is nothing but the alignment. Okay, the objectives, policies of the organization are aligned with this corporate governance and also achievements. And legal and regulatory framework. So what is the legal and regulatory framework? It is nothing but according to the Companies Act 2013, the rules and regulations, okay, should be followed according to the Companies Act 2013. Like for example, conducting the meetings. Meetings should be conducted every quarterly, means four the meetings, four general meetings should be conducted yearly. Okay, likewise appointing the directors should be according to the Companies Act only. Appointing the committees, appointing the board of directors. So different aspects regarding the organizational activities should be according to the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. Okay, now board of directors and committees. So these are board of directors are nothing but the directors, as we discussed before. So they have many roles and responsibilities, duties to be performed in the organization. They have to safeguard the stakeholders and stockholders of the organization. Okay, they act as trustees, they take financial decisions, they formulate the policies and strategies, procedures, norms of the organization. And at the same time, there is also a committees are followed, like grievance committee. Grievance committee is nothing but if at all there are any grievances in the external or internal stakeholders of the organization, they can go for grievance committee, and they can resolve their problems. Likewise, shareholders committee will be there, because shareholders come and they can know about the organization's performance. In that committee, they may discuss the performance of the organization. They may know the internal management of the organization. Okay, likewise ethical committee. So different committees will be maintained through this corporate governance. Okay, so disclosure and transparency, we have discussed earlier. So all this is a corporate system under corporate governance. So if we asked about what is the corporate governance means, okay, we have to write about the system. Corporate system means it involves vision, objective, strategy, smart goals, and at the same time all these will be aligned with the corporate governance on the principle of these disclosure and transparency, accountability, policies, CSR. Okay, all these aspects comes under the system of corporate governance. Okay, so if we see what are the duties of directors. Okay, so after completing corporate governance, we have to study about directors. Why? Because directors plays important role. As I said before, shareholders appoint these directors. These directors are the backbone of the company. They formulate policies, procedures, strategies of the organization. Okay, at the same time they are trustees of the organization. So they will take the financial decisions, technical decisions. Each and every decisions will be taken by the directors of the company. So these directors are very important. They have to safeguard the interest of the stakeholders of the company. We have discussed stakeholders are primary stakeholders and secondary stakeholders who are associated directly and indirectly with the company. Okay, so if we see director, who is a director? Director, according to Companies Act, a director may be defined as a person having control over the direction, conduct, management, or superintendence of the affairs of a company. Okay, so director means, if we want to define in one word, he directs and controls. Okay, he directs and he will controls. He has full control over the management. Okay, and he will look after the affairs of the organization of the company. Okay, so director means he has full control, he has direction. Okay, full control over direction, conduct of the management. Okay, management, superintendence of the affairs of the company, means he will look after the internal affairs of the company, and also he will act as a link for the external environment and also the company. So anyone who is in power to perform duties and responsibilities of a director will be called as a director. At present, who is in the power, who is performing the rights and duties, responsibilities as a director, will be called as director by virtue of his function, irrespective of by what name he is called. Okay. Now, so board of directors, if we see board of directors, means board of directors include all directors, okay, elected by a corporation's shareholders to represent their interest and ensure that the companies acts on their behalf. So we all know that directors are appointed by the board of directors are appointed by the shareholders. Why? Because in order to represent on their behalf, in order to safeguard their interest, because they invested in the organization. So a day-to-day organizational business activities should be looked after by these directors. Okay, they have to act in order to get the organization into profits. Okay, so the board has extensive power to manage a company. Okay, so see, board of directors here. The board has extensive power to manage a company, delegate decision-making power to executives, and ensure that company's objectives are achieved in compliance with the provisions of articles of association. Okay, so board of directors means include all the directors. Board of directors means, okay, here all the directors form BOD. Okay, all the directors form the board of directors, which is known as BOD, board of directors. So they have extensive power to manage company because they take decisions and they will delegate those decisions to the executives. Okay, so they will delegate the decision making power to executives and ensure that company's objectives are achieved in compliance with the provisions of the Articles of Association. We all know Articles of Association, AOA. Okay, so AOA means Articles of Association, which is concerned with the internal management affairs of organization. So Articles of Association means what are the policies, what are the norms, what are the what is the system, internal management, all will be discussed in this Articles of Association, which is produced to the ROC, Registrar of Companies. So here board of directors should act, the decisions should be taken according to the provisions of Articles of Association only. Beyond the Articles of Association, they cannot take any decision. So decision making power should be taken and they should be compliance, means they should align with the provisions of Articles of Association. Okay, so the board shall exercise its power subject to provisions contained in articles, memorandum, central government and company law board. So these are all the we all know that before incorporation of a company, we have to submit these documents to the ROC, Registrar of Companies, like producing a memorandum of association, Articles of Association and prospectus. Okay, so we have to exercise, directors has to exercise within the limits of these aspects with these documents only. Okay, so after directors, different types of directors are there: executive director, non-executive director, independent director, nominee director, alternate director. So who is an executive director? Executive director means he is considered as full-time working director. Okay, so he will involve in the policy making, decision making, each and every thing in the internal affairs of the organization. Okay, he is responsible towards the shareholders interest and at the same time company's profitability also. So that person is considered as the executive director. He is in execution, he is now doing his work, he is now full-time working director, he is actively working in the affairs of the organization. So he is known as executive director. Now non-executive director means they are not involved in the everyday working of the company activities. Okay, they take part in, just they are involved, these non-executive directors are not involved in the day-to-day operations of the company, but they take part in planning, policy making and attends board meetings. Attending to board meetings is compulsory. So these non-executive directors are involved majorly in planning of company, policy making of company and attending to the board meetings. He is known as non-executive, means they are not involved in day-to-day operations. Okay, so independent director means they are no way they are related to the company. Okay, they do not have any relationship with the company, they are not family members, they are not friends, they are not other persons. Okay, purely they are external persons who are no way related to the company. Okay, he is known as independent director. Being independent director means definitely we can expect integrity, experience and expertise from that person. Why? Because he will act uh, and he will take decisions unbiasedly. Okay, so we may expect integrity from that person, high level of morals, ethical values. Okay, likewise experience also, expertise also, decisions and judgments will be given genuinely. Okay, unbiasedly. So independent director, he is no way connected previously or present with the organization. Okay. And nominee director means they are appointed in a company to ensure that company affairs are conducted in a manner dictated by the laws governing companies and there is no oppression or mismanagement. Okay. So nominee director means those directors ensure that, okay, these directors ensures that all the affairs of the company are going well or in a good conduct. Okay. They are working according to the laws, they are according to working according to the governing companies. Okay. And here we may not see any mismanagement, so this assurance will be given by the nominee director. Okay. So those are known as nominee directors. And coming to alternate director, so this is a person who is appointed only to attend, speak and vote in a board meeting on behalf of the director of a company. Okay. Who would be unable to attend if any one of the director is now in a position not to attend the general meeting of a company, okay, board meeting of a company. So on behalf of that person, okay, this alternate director can attend, can speak and vote in that meeting. So that person is known as alternate director. So these are the different types of directors. Most important is executive director and non-executive directors. So executive directors are directly involved in the organization's performance. Okay, they are responsible to the shareholders' interest. They will work for the company's profitability. And non-executive directors are, they will not involve in the day-to-day operations and they will take part in planning, policy making and attend to the board meetings. Right? Now, eligibility to be appointed as board of directors. So what is the eligibility to be a director? Okay. So that individual, that particular director must have capability to perform legal actions. Capacity to perform legal actions means that being a director of a company means he has to associate, he has to work with different legal performances in the organization. So definitely in order to take different decisions regarding financial aspects or legal aspects, any aspects, he should be of sound mind and competent age. Okay. Why? Because they decide the company's future goals and priorities. Okay. Or else they will check the external marketing conditions, they will monitor the performance of the employees, setting of budgets for the company's operations. Okay. And advisory capacity, they have to they should have advisory capacity to the C executives. Okay. Likewise, risk management assessment will be taken by them. So therefore, in order to perform all these duties and functions, definitely those persons should be sound mind and competent age. Okay. And within a period of 5 years prior to his or her appointment, they must have never been declared bankrupt. Okay. This is another important eligibility. Okay. Within a period of 5 years, continuously for 5 years. Okay. Before entering to this particular company, prior 5 years, they have never been declared as a bankrupt persons, insolvent persons. Okay. And why? Because a code of conduct should be maintained for directors, like using company information for personal gain, or else doing insider trading, uh, unnecessarily using the advantage of the power of authority. Okay. So likewise, uh, creating conflicting interest between personal interest and the company. Okay. Likewise, different aspects will be with directors. Okay. So a good code of conduct should be there. So in order to know that a good code of conduct, this eligibility criteria has been given. Okay. So that is declared bankrupt, and he must have never been sentenced for committing a crime or convicted by court for any offense with petition pending. Okay, he should not be sentenced, okay, for committing crime, or else he should not be convicted by court for any offense, okay, or else any petition is in pending, okay, regarding his offense. So any of these things will not be considered as eligible person of director. So he should be free from all these acts like offenses or committing a crime, okay. And he must not have been disqualified for appointment as director by the order of court on grounds of fraud to the company, okay. Adding to these aspects, if at all there is any order of court on a particular person regarding that on grounds that he is disqualified as a director for appointment as director regarding or else on grounds of fraud to the company, okay, a order is given by the court means such person is also not eligible to be appointed as a director. And directors can be removed from office even after appointment, okay. If a person is already appointed, okay, he may be removed from the office by shareholders or central government and company law board on any act of violation. If at all, if he is now in as a director of a company, okay, any offense is committed by the director means immediately he may be terminated or removed, okay. Director can be removed by the shareholders or else central government or else the company law board, okay. And if we see what are the duties of a director, okay, so what are the duties of director means, first one is statutory duty and general duty. We may differentiate the duties of a director in two ways: statutory duties and general duties, okay. So what are the statutory duties, what are the general duties? So statutory duties means they are mandatory, compulsory. Statutory duty means at any cost they have to perform these statutory duties, they are mandatory, okay, they have to perform those duties. General duties are they have to know, okay, in their knowledge they have to know that they have to do all these things, okay, in their daily activities, okay. So according to the Companies Act, uh, this board of directors, they are entitled to do these duties, okay. So they can exercise powers on these, so by implementing these duties. So statutory duties means to determine minimum subscription, okay. So determining the minimum subscription means here the board of directors for every company, okay, for example they are issuing public subscription means definitely for each share there should be a price, okay. So that minimum subscription, okay, is determined by the directors of the company, okay, board of directors of the company. So minimum subscription will be so and so amount, okay. So beyond that amount they may extend depending upon the situations or else depending upon the company's performance, but the minimum subscription should be this amount, okay. For example any amount, okay. So that is decided by the board of directors, that is the minimum subscription. Another one is to deposit in a scheduled bank. So each and every company, the amount that is pooled through subscriptions or else pooled through loans, okay, through any other way, that amount will be, the whole amount should be deposited in a predetermined bank, which is nothing but scheduled bank, okay. So in so and so bank we have to deposit our amount, means to that in that bank only they have to deposit all these amount. Okay, so that duty is up upon the director. So deposit in a scheduled bank. For example, there is they went for they issue public subscription and certain amount is collected by the company and that amount is deposited in a scheduled bank. Now to prepare statutory report. So statutory report is, it should prepare statutory report means statutory report is nothing but the company's affairs. Okay, the activities of the organization, how the organization is going on, if at all there are any changes, what are those changes. Okay, if at all there are any improvements, any updates in the organization, so what are those. So what is going on to all members of the stakeholders. Okay, because many stakeholders are associated with the company. If at all there are any changes regarding the suppliers or else regarding the bankers, regarding the government policies, all should be updated in a statutory report form. Okay, so that statutory report copy should be circulated between the members of the company within 21 days. Okay, so if at all a statutory report is prepared means definitely that statutory report is nothing but the legal report. Okay, so that report should be circulated between the members of the company within the formation of the report 21 days. Okay, so to call an extraordinary meeting, then only after circulating the statutory report only meetings can be conducted. Okay, so call on extraordinary meetings means if at all there is any situation that immediate decisions should be taken. Okay, so whenever they want to take immediate decisions means in that case, okay, board will conduct extraordinary meeting. Okay, so this is the duty of the director. Next one, to approve profit and loss account, balance sheet. So it is the duty of the director to look after the P&L account of the organization and also the balance sheet of the organization. Why? Because all these acts are prepared on the all the acts are prepared, or else the auditing will be done depending upon these P&L account and balance sheet only. Okay, so this is given to the auditor for auditing purpose. So before going to auditing process, the duty of the director is to approve the P&L account and also the balance sheet of the company. Next one is annual report. So annual report before annual general meeting. So every year AGM will be conducted, annual general meeting. In that annual general meeting, the annual report should be submitted by the reporters, by the directors. Okay, they have to give the full data, the information regarding the status of the organization, performance of the organization. Okay, in that annual report, as I said before, the changes or the updates or else the financial performance of the company, everything should be informed in that annual report, which should be presented in the annual general meeting by the directors. Okay, next one is to pay dividends. So paying dividends means they are properly are the dividends are properly given to shareholders. Okay, and there should be transparency in giving these dividends to the shareholders and no concealing of facts should be there in this dividends. Okay, so that is the duty of the director. Concealing of facts should not be there, transparency should be there, pay dividends properly to the shareholders. So it is the duty of the director because he is the ultimate person who safeguards the interest of the shareholders and at the same time he is appointed by the shareholders. And to manage company affairs. Okay, so to manage company affairs is nothing but the internal management of the company, each and every aspect, as there are different organizational hierarchy structure in the organization. Okay, he has to look after each and every department, each and every hierarchy is performing their roles and responsibilities or not. Okay, and conducting board meetings. See, every year, definitely every company should conduct every quarterly one meeting which incurs 4 meetings per year. Okay, so it is mandatory. Conducting board meetings is mandatory. 4 meetings per year is mandatory. Okay, next one, to control the company. So control the company means, is the company is working properly or not. He has to look after each and every aspect of the organization. Internal affairs of the organization is going well or not. Control should be there. Control should be there on resources. Control should be there on materials. Control should be there on man. Control should be there on money. All the 4 M's, like men, material, money. Okay, all the resources should be controlled by the director depending upon the requirement of the organization. Okay, control should be maintained on each and every aspect. If it is out of control, means it leads to wastage and loss to the company. Therefore, it is the duty of the director to have a control on the men, to have the control on money, to have the control on material, to have the control on management. Okay, so these are the statutory duties of a director. Okay, so if we see general duties, so what are the general duties? So general duties means, first one is the manage the company affairs. Okay, manage company affairs, both the internal and external affairs of the company. It is very very important for a director. If at all there are any disturbances in the organization internally, means he has to look after, he has to manage the company, each and every department. He has to associate with each and every department manager, every department head. Okay, he has to look after what is going on each and every department internally. So he has to manage the company affairs, from salaries to of employees, to payments to suppliers, or else giving quality product and good price, reasonable price to customers. Each and every aspects of the company should be seen by the directors. So it is a general duty. Okay, so act in good faith and interest of the company. We may not lay down any specific rules to be good faith. It is a general duty. Obviously, whenever a director enter into a company, means it is by default he has to know, he should work with good faith, and for the interest of the company he has to work there. Okay, likewise, discharge his duties. This is very very important. The person who is working in a company, he should discharge his duties with utter care, and he should use his skills properly. Okay, carefully he has to perform his duties. Why? Because lakhs of people, lakhs, thousands of stockholders are associated with the company. Therefore, he should be very careful in performing his duties, in discharging his duties, and he should act very skillfully. Use the company properly for the benefit of the company, but not for personal use. Okay, this is a general duty that should be performed by the director. Okay, for example, if there are 2 vendors in a for that company. Okay, for example, X is a vendor, Y is a vendor. There are 2 vendors for a company. They supply raw materials to the company. For example, X supplies for 1 lakh material, for 1 lakh, for example, and he supplies 1,50,000. Okay, actually the director has to decide which person gives the raw material for less amount. Okay, so actually he gives for 1 lakh, he gives for 1,50,000. Then the option should be X for a director. But if at all the director went for option Y, even though he charges 1,50,000, means here it is involved that more than company's benefit, personal benefit of a director is involved. Why? Because Y told to the director that if he gives that to Y, okay, he will give some percentage of amount to him. Okay, so therefore the director, for his personal benefit, he opted Y. But it is the duty of the director not to act according to personal benefit or personal use. He should go for X only, because X gives for 1 lakh only, rather Y. Okay, so therefore The director duty is to work for the benefit of the company and not for the personal use. Now, not to neglect in discharging their duties. Okay, he should not neglect the duties, discharging of duties, performing of his duties. Okay, why? Because neglecting leads to a heavy loss to the company. He has to properly avail his duties. He should properly perform his duties. Then only the management will be in a proper condition without any wastage and losses. Now, to attend all board meetings, it is obvious. Every director should attend all the meetings that are conducted in the organization. He has to conduct all the meetings also. For yearly 2-4 meetings will be conducted. Every quarterly 1 meeting will be conducted. Okay, so in that meeting he has to give the information regarding the progress of the organization, and he can give the recommendations to the organization. All information can be updated there. Okay, and he can express his views and opinions regarding the organization in that board meetings. Okay, so these are the general duties of a director.